proclamation number 2117, and item 15A, nonprofit spotlight. Is there a motion for approval of the agenda with the recommended change?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Newton, second by Councilmember Anderson. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move forward with proclamation number 20-17, recognizing Dr. Gerald Harmon. The county has seen fit to issue a proclamation in honor of Dr. Gerald Harmon. It gives me great pleasure to read this proclamation to council's record. County of Georgetown, State of South Carolina, in honor of Dr. Gerald Harmon. Whereas healthcare providers and physicians offer guidance to individuals, families, and groups dealing with issues that affect their health and overall well-being. Physicians determine available options and advise on making decisions that significantly influence a person's chances for a healthy life. And whereas for 35 years, Dr. Gerald Harmon has been the trusted provider of expert medical care, advocating for patients and generations of families in Georgetown County. And whereas throughout his career, Dr. Gerald Harmon has seen many successes and his contributions have been significant, to include his service as an advocate for our country in the U.S. Air Force Reserve and Air National Guard, holding responsibilities as Chief Physician for the National Guard Bureau and Assistant Surgeon General for the U.S. Air Force until his retirement from the military as a highly decorated Major General. And whereas held in highest esteem by his peers, Dr. Gerald Harmon has held several statewide leadership positions, including Chairman of the Board and President of the South Carolina Medical Association, serving as a strong advocate to promote the highest level of quality medical care in our state. And whereas Dr. Gerald Harmon continually demonstrates his commitment to develop, mentor, and inspire future generations of healthcare providers, a clinical professor at the Medical University of South Carolina, University of South Carolina School of Medicine, and clinical faculty member of Tidelands Health MUSC Family Medicine Residency Program, he has twice been named Community Educator of the Year by the South Carolina Academy of Family Physicians and Educator of the Year by the South Carolina Area Health Education Consortium, among his many accolades. And whereas our nation's premier medical organization, the American Medical Association, has entrusted Dr. Gerald Harmon as the organization's next leader, and whereas Georgetown County Council recognizes that individuals such as Dr. Gerald Harmon are a most valuable asset to any community, as a strong advocate for an equitable healthcare system who will advocate to ensure optimal health care for all, Dr. Gerald Harmon is a leader most fitting to carry the mantle. Therefore, be it proclaimed with deepest gratitude that Georgetown County Council does hereby recognize Dr. Gerald Harmon for the manner in which he has served throughout his career, for the leadership and guidance he continues to provide to other physicians and health professionals who follow in his path, for his ongoing commitment to a higher purpose and tireless pursuit for the advancement of medicine, health, and wellness. Furthermore, it is with greatest pride that Georgetown County Council joins the citizens of Georgetown County and others in extending heartfelt congratulations to Dr. Gerald Harmon upon his ascension and installment as the 176th President of a American Medical Association. So shall it be, the 22nd day of June in the year of our Lord, 2021.
Mr. Chairman, y'all know that this means a lot to me. It means a lot to the community. This is an honor, but more importantly, it's an opportunity to carry what I consider to be the heart and the soul of Georgetown County, my community, the goodness of Georgetown County and the community. It carries it to the national stage. My name may be on that, but embedded in that document is the support, the love, and the trust of all citizens of Georgetown County. I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank all of you.
We already shook hands.
Just want to say again, congratulations to Dr. Harmon. You move on down to the nonprofit spotlight. And this evening's sponsor will be Neighbor to Neighbor. Our presenter will be Neighbor to Neighbor, Mr. Joe Kunkel, Executive Director.
Well, good evening, and thank you for affording Neighbor to Neighbor the opportunity to be here before you, Chairman, County Council members, and of course, a special thank you to Ms. Giles, Terry, and the Bunnell Foundation for affording us the privilege of sharing with each and all of you just a little bit more about how Neighbor to Neighbor is working diligently to impact the community members throughout your entire county. Now, my name is Jason Walter, and I'm the Development Director and Volunteer Coordinator for the organization. And with me is really the true brains, the nucleus behind the operations, and just an amazing man, our Executive Director, Mr. Joe Kunkel.
Jason, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Next slide, please. We are here to tell you about what we do and how we do it in a very short time frame. So we promote independence, relieve isolation, and we connect homebound adults to their community through transportation and technology. And we're doing this in the most efficient and effective way with many years of service and being able to monitor and evaluate our programs each and every year, each and every grant cycle. And we're really excited to share with you what is driving us each and every day. Jason, tell us about the rides.
That's right. Now, in everything we do, ladies and gentlemen, we stand by our core values, which is an acronym called RIDES, which stands for respect, integrity, dignity, excellence, and service to society. Now, no matter if it's strategic planning or day-to-day operations, this is the foundation that helps propel us into ensuring that the constituents throughout all communities of Georgetown County receive the resources and support that they truly need from our programming services.
Next slide, please. And with that, we've been strategically focused to help expand services into Georgetown County. The previous year has really turned nonprofits for quite a loop with COVID-19, and so we've been able to pivot and work with partners in ways that we never thought possible, from helping with those who wanted vaccine access to food insecurity help, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But one of the things that I'm most proud of is being able to leverage different funding together to be able to hire somebody directly from Georgetown County to help us implement services. We're so excited to begin this process and to continue growing as we're meeting the needs of our growing aging population, which, by the way, the SC Budget and Control Board is expecting to double in the next decade.
You know, that's right, and we could not be more excited about all that is available under the Neighbor to Neighbor umbrella. And speaking of COVID-19 and providing some of those vaccine resources, we've been able to come together as a board, staff, and volunteers to implement new services outside of just having been known as a transportation resource that have been implemented with efficiency and precision to ensure that community members are receiving exactly what they need. Now, what's important to know is that some of these new programs, they were planned for 3 and 5 years out in the future, and we were able to come together in a very short time span and say, we have the infrastructure to ensure that the stability of those models can be implemented, and we have yielded great outcomes, not only throughout Georgetown County, but others as well, to ensure that the citizens are receiving everything that they need to advance their lives and ultimately age in place.
Next slide, please. And so this is a brief summary of some of the activities and programs that we provide at Neighbor to Neighbor. And the one that we're really developing now is Neighbor to Neighbor Academy, where volunteers are the lifeblood of what we do. It is the central component of how we operate and provide services. And so the supports that we want to have for our volunteers, including incorporating an academy or a training structure that's going to incorporate technology to be able to access online at your own time. We all have busy lives to be able to intersperse volunteer mandates that we require because best practices are something that we put forth constantly. So Neighbor to Neighbor Academy is one of the great things we're going to be looking at. And I'm just going to touch on pantry, food insecurity, we touched upon that, but working with other pantry partners, faith-based partners to be able to coordinate using technology and software in ways that we never thought that we would need to be using, really brought together the goodwill of our volunteer community and to help those who really needed help during this time and continue to do so. Jason, tell us a little bit about Connect, though.
That's right. Connect, this is one of my all-time favorite programs that we've been able to implement to all constituents throughout Georgetown County if they have that need. Now, what Connect is, End-to-End Connect, is essentially wellness calls. So we have a group of volunteers that are well-trained, well-prepared, equipped, and empowered to make phone calls to community members to help prevent that loneliness factor that they're facing. In fact, so much so that we had a community member present to us that it helped her feel human again, just receiving those phone calls. We have to remember that the coastal Carolinas, we live in a region that really does a lot to help encourage community members to relocate to these areas from other parts of the nation, and then making sure that they have the resources available to them, such as a community member who's willing to give them a phone call to where it is enthusiastic, it is sharing of stories, and it's telling about one's experience so that they feel like they're never just a number in a community, but always like they matter. And that's what End-to-End Connect, or also known as the wellness calls, has really been. It's been essential in the lives of many of our aging population community members. It is such a true, true blessing to have so many willing and able community members make those phone calls. Now, we are always looking for more, so keep that in mind, that volunteers are kind of the backbone of everything we do. And without the support of volunteers and the support of amazing resources such as the county council and program services throughout every community, we would not be able to provide the services necessary to do that. In addition to the Connect, I briefly touched on our transportation program, and I want to allude to that just a little bit. This is a great resource for many of the communities where we may have a community member that lives off the beaten path, if you will. They may be in a rural community and need to receive transportation that may be for an essential medical appointment that is in a larger municipality. We have volunteers who are well-trained and prepared to go out, pick that community member up, and provide them transportation necessary to not only that medical destination, but also a quality of life experience and an opportunity that community has to enhance their quality of life so that they feel like they're productive. And in turn, it's also kind of an investment into each community because every ride that's given actually has a return on investment. So we love the transportation program. That's right. And it was a great day to see Dr. Harmon in here, so I hope he saw our name so we can talk with him more about our program. Because it is next slide. It is a program that we're not just touting to ourselves, but truly has received awards external to us. And most recently from the South Carolina Secretary of State, we received the Angel Award for our fiscal management.
And so really the responsibility falls on us at Neighbor to Neighbor to be able to responsibly handle and allocate resources in a very limited scope and to do so very efficiently. And these organizations have noticed that. And so I do want to kind of wrap up and let you see something in the way that we do and operate Neighbor to Neighbor. So we have a very short video. Next slide, please. And this really encaptures what Neighbor to Neighbor is.
County Council, ladies and gentlemen in the room, we are committed as an organization to each and every one of your constituents, the communities throughout Georgetown County, and that includes bringing on board new staff members recently that were just hired from Georgetown County, as well as interns, and to include the services that we provide to all of the community members. If you'd like more information about Neighbor to Neighbor, we are available for you. We left a lot of packets around for your information, and we would love to set up any opportunity to meet with you one-on-one to answer your questions individually. With that being said, are there any questions that we might be able to answer at this time to share a little bit more about how we are having impact in your community?
Are there any questions from council members? Okay, we thank you for joining us this evening. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for all you do. Thanks for all you do for the communities. We're moving to our public comment. A public comment period is included on each meeting agenda and shall be limited to 30 minutes. Each speaker will be limited to no more than 3 minutes. No speaker may yield his/her allotted time to another speaker. Members of the public who wish to address council during the public input period should sign up with the clerk of council before the meeting is called. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers?
Mr. Chairman, we do have 3 speakers signed up tonight. As you stated, each will have up to 3 minutes, and the first is Chief Elder John Henry.
It's not evening time, but it's good afternoon. My name is Chief Elder Minister John Henry. I represent the New Ngala African Village of Georgetown, South Carolina, located at 1527 Front Street. As I was sitting in the audience, I see that one of the items has been put on hold, 9B, with the Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week. I was hoping to branch off of my colleagues' and the tribe from the Gullah Geechee Nation, but at this time I'll hold that comment. But while I had this opportunity to speak, and I guess I got less than a minute and 30 seconds left, on May 27th, 2021, I had the honor and the privilege to attend a very important ceremony in respect to our ancestors in Pawleys Island. I want to thank this council and its members and the staff for doing a wonderful job with the replacement of our ancestors' remain in Pawleys Island. I'm also here to let this council know and get to know me that I represent the whole state of South Carolina as the chief. I've been appointed by Ambassador Abdul of Nigeria to represent all of our ancestors worldwide, from Wilmington, North Carolina, all the way up to Miami, Florida, and extending around to Mexico. So in respect of saying that, if a situation comes in front of this county, I plead with you and I ask that you get in contact with me in reference of any construction that's going on in Georgetown County in regards to any unearthing of bones of our ancestors, so that we can make sure, or I will make sure, that the proper rituals and customs are followed first. And I say this with the deepest respect. I was honored to be there, and there were some representatives, clergies that was there, respectfully, doesn't have the insight of our Gullah Geechee traditions and rituals that are performed before the removal and after the reemplacement. I yield the rest of my time. Thank you.
Rod Stolvey.
Council members, I really appreciate your opportunity for the public to come up and be heard. It's a great service. I'm here because I read a notice in the Pawleys Island paper concerning a rezoning request by my neighbor, the owners of Northampton Plantation. They have had a PD development for 15 years, since 2006, for 300 homes and a marina, and they're now requesting before the Building and Planning Commission a change to an RV park. I really don't want an RV park next to my home. And actually, this is going to be, if they really seriously consider it, an accident waiting to happen. 521 is the thoroughfare really to the Ports Authority of Mount Pleasant and log trucks. And can you picture a 50-foot RV going in and out of that place? If this comes before County Council, I certainly would like y'all to consider that one fact, and also that we really don't need an RV park next to my house. Also, I would like to request that you consider how property owners are notified. Currently, they have a small sign that you can't even see in front of the entrance to Northampton. And it's my understanding that they mail letters out to property owners that are adjacent. I didn't get one. And I've contacted 3 other property owners. They did not receive one. And it's my understanding that all they do is put a notice in an envelope and put a stamp on it. Well, if you've had any experiences in receiving mail, like most people, that's not a guaranteed way of delivering a message. And I think that county council should revise that rule. They should send these mailings out, certified mail, return signature requested, and in a timely fashion. If they don't get a response, they ought to call them. An RV park is a serious, serious mistake, and I don't understand with a PD for 15 years, and they haven't even dug one hole. How's that? There's no penalty for not breaking ground. This thing's got me upset. So if this happens to come up in the conversation, please think about me. Thank you.
Nancy Crawford.
Hi, my name is Nancy Crawford. I'm a resident here for the last 11 years in Hagley Estates. I'm a volunteer with Scoot. If anybody doesn't know what Scoot is, it's the South Carolina United Turtle Enthusiast. We walk 55 miles of beach from North Myrtle Beach all the ways down to Inlet Point for the sea turtles. We have about 150 volunteers that do this on a daily basis from May through October. I'm friends with a lot of the police officers that are now our beach patrol, and I'm being told that there's a lot of things they cannot enforce because there's no ordinance to enforce. Last year we had, can you see this? Do you need me to bring it up? We had holes dug so big you could have put a Mini Cooper in it. It was a joke for the guy renting the property that every day he was going to make it bigger and bigger. It's not only a danger for the turtles, it's a danger for people walking, it's also a danger for collapse on the kids that are inside of it. That's the time a fire department gets notified, the collapse gets down that far part of the beach to where they're at, they're done. So I don't know, Myrtle Beach has just done this business recently of having rules instituted for holes not being dug bigger than a certain size. I've got this paperwork I've brought with me so you can look at it, reflect off of it, and hopefully we'll put something in place for Georgetown County beaches because we need something. Nothing gets done with these holes that are dug on a daily basis. We have holes, we have furniture left up. Garden City is horrific. They have stuff all over their beach every single day, including the fireworks that are shot off up there every night. This is 4th of July last year. They bring it down, they shoot it off, and they leave it there for someone else to pick it up. So I don't know whether, I mean, the holes right now is my biggest thing, but if we could follow suit to what Myrtle Beach has done with fireworks, with holes, have an ordinance put out there so our police officers can do something about it, that'd be awesome, because right now they can't do anything besides suggest you need to fill that hole in. So until somebody gets killed, collapse happens on kids that are put into these holes because people don't use common sense to know that that sand's going to fall in on the person, nothing's going to change. Our police officers can't do anything. So I'm here today to kind of represent us for the turtles. If a turtle would fall into a hole like that, it would die. If a person would fall into that, they would probably end up being dead also because they'd break their back because the hole was so big. I mean, they actually had seats cut out inside of that hole. That's how big it was. And nothing could be done. We had the police there 4 different times that week about the hole, and the only thing that changed something about it, the police couldn't do anything, was go on to the rental company to say, can you see about maybe not refunding their security deposit if they don't follow the rules? So I'm just asking for y'all to consider this for safety for people on the beach, for the turtles on the beach, you know, the trash left on the beach to kind of, I'll give you the Myrtle Beach's ordinance, and hopefully you guys can maybe do something with that to institute that in Georgetown County, and I'd appreciate it. On behalf of Scoot. And she's got a turtle cup for our turtles. Can I give this to you?
Mr. Chairman, that's the final speaker for tonight.
Speakers. I think recently we had some funding to come to Georgetown County to assist with one of our pending projects. Ms. Johnson, would you like to mention that particular project?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am delighted to make this announcement. In fact, it is great news as it relates to the Spring Gully community. In April, Georgetown County, via the Waccamaw Regional Council of Government, submitted an application for a grant, and we received information today that our grant was approved through the governor's office. And at this time, I would like to thank the Spring Gully community for their support. I don't know if Mr. Parker is here this evening. He usually is, but this is great news for the community. And this is the first step in 1,000 miles. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. That is great news for Spring Gully and for the county. Another matter that has been flowing through the county has been the conversation regarding housing within Georgetown County. As you all recall, the council had commissioned a study on housing within Georgetown County, and that study has come back basically stating what we all thought it would have said, that we lack housing within Georgetown County, especially affordable housing. With that being stated, we are hereby requesting Madam Administrator to seek innovative ways to assist with housing in Georgetown County, with special emphasis on affordable housing, and affordable being defined as stated within the study that we had commissioned. So we are suggesting this evening that you try to find innovative ways to increase housing within Georgetown County, or to bring more housing to Georgetown County, taking into consideration also public-private partnerships and whatever we can do to assist that. Again, with special emphasis on affordable housing.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You now move on down to our approval of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as submitted?
It's moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman McGough, second by Councilman Newton. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Okay. Motion carries. There were 3 matters included on the consent agenda have been approved by virtue of the agenda approval process. Procurement number 21-06, user fee road construction, Ivers Avenue, Royal Pine Drive, and Simone Court. Procurement number 21-032, runway 5-23, rehabilitation at Georgetown County Airport, and Woodstock property acquisition. We're now down to appointments to boards and commissions. There's an appointment to the Airport Commission. Councilmember Goggins.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to recommend the reappointment of Dr. Jerry Crosby, Georgetown County Airport Commission. He's been a stalwart commission member, and he's a pilot, and has, by all accounts, done a good job. So would like to commend him to the council for reappointment.
Councilmember Goggins recommends that Dr. Jerry Crosby be reappointed to Georgetown County Airport Commission. Is there a motion?
I second that motion.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion? Motion passes. This motion by Councilmember Goggins and second by Councilmember Johnson. Proclamation number 21-18 in celebration of Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week. Ms. Jackie Broach.
Here we go. Sorry about that. Council members, it is my pleasure to introduce to you a proclamation that you are being asked to consider in celebration of Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week. This proclamation celebrates the importance of the Gullah Geechee culture, as well as the history and legacy of the Gullah Geechee culture in Georgetown County. This is about the 10th year, I believe, that we have made this annual proclamation. And it was about 10 years ago also that we met the incomparable Queen Quet, who is with us tonight virtually. And she would like to make some comments after the proclamation is read, and she is a much more entertaining speaker than I am, so I will keep it brief and close with letting you know that county staff recommends approval of this proclamation.
Good evening, Queen Hewitt. I understand you have some comments you'd like to make to council.
After one of them approved the proclamation, sir.
Okay. Okay, is there a motion for approval of the proclamation number 21-18?
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of proclamation number 21-18 approval, please raise your hand. Opposed? Proclamation is approved.
All right. Thank you, Council. I'm so glad for deal with Hunter chilling this your way and things like that. Even though I can't do that with Hunter in person, I've been coming up the road, but then the storm be coming. So it said, no, stay right your way out of day. So I could have reached Hunter this your day virtually and things like that. So we want to say thank you to all the Georgetown family for celebrating one more again with we. For true, this year been about a decade, but you know, Hunter have been here a long time for that. And so we're glad for how this year where we take a stand for Gullah Geechee land and that Hunter to honor the land and the continuing legacy of who we be as Gullah Geechee right there in Georgetown County, South Kakalaki. So Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week this year will launch here on historic St. Helena Island the final Saturday in July, which is July 31st at noon. And it will continue on to the following Sunday, the first Sunday in August. And so we hope that this year, many of you there in Georgetown will come down to St. Helena and be part of Gullah Geechee Family Day on July 31st. And of course, then celebrate throughout the county the rest of the week with us. And if people want to get more information on the full schedule of activities that will take place throughout the Gullah Geechee Nation, please follow GullahGeecheeNation.com. You can follow Gullah Geechee on Twitter and Instagram as well, and Gullah Geechee Nation on Facebook. And for them children who ain't know how to spell this, you think? Gullah is G-U-L-L-A-H. Geechee is G-E-E-C-H-E-E. Ain't no I, Geechee for the we. And so thank you to all the 100 children there in Georgetown County, South Kakalaki. And I appreciate the words that were stated in regard to making sure that our land and the landing places of the very bones, blood, sweat, and tears of our ancestors is respected in the future. So please make sure that you let us know. We also came and traveled to the ceremony of the reinterment, but was concerned that our traditions were not done at that ceremony. And so please make sure you know how to reach me. You find me every year around this time. So y'all know anytime that you need me there in Georgetown, I am there. And so definitely I appreciate you tonight for making this opportunity available for me to still be with you, even though I'm down here. So y'all stay safe, stay dry, stay healthy, and enjoy the rest of the summer. We're so glad. I'm looking forward to 100 children coming here for Shout with We for Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week.
Thank you. Any comments from council? Thank you, Queen Coet.
Thank you to all the 100 children.
We move down to resolution number 21-19 to recognize July as Parks and Recreation Month in Georgetown County. Parks and Rec Director, Ms. Beth Goodall.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, the U.S. House of Representatives has recognized July as National Parks and Recreation Month in America. And
That is recognizing that Parks and Recreation plays an important part in the health and quality and life of citizens across the country. So the recreation staff and I are respectfully requesting that our county council also does the same and recognizes July as Parks and Recreation Month in Georgetown County.
Are there any questions for Ms. Goodall? Okay. Is there a motion to adopt resolution number 21-19?
So moves.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor of the adoption of resolution number 21-19, please raise your hand. 21-19, I'm sorry. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. We'll move on down to the third reading of ordinances. Ordinance number 21-16, Ms. Langston.
Good evening, County Council. This is third reading of the fiscal year 22 budget ordinance. You've been provided with a sheet of the changes that have happened since second reading, and they include an increase of 0.1 mils in the law enforcement fund. That is bringing it up to the cap. We had previously increased it by 0.2 mils, so we're now at an increase of 0.3 mils in that fund. We also increased the transfer from local hospitality and accommodations tax to the maximum that we can, based on current projections. So that's now at $2,335,000. We've added an additional clerk 1 position in the summary court department, specifically traffic court division, along with the fringes and benefits to go along with that position. And also included in the proviso that's with the ordinance is provision for the compensation to county employees from the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 up to $2.7 million. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Are there any questions for Ms. Langston?
I have
Yes.
a question. Ms. Karras,
Yes, sir.
how are you this evening?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Question on that American Rescue Act. Is that 2.7 mil coming out of the 6 mil that we've received to date?
Yes, sir.
So that's part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Ms. Karras, as for the studies that we've commissioned, can you explain or give us a dollar amount on, to date, the dollar amount and cost for commissions, for studies that have been commissioned?
Like the impact fee studies?
Any studies?
I don't know that right off the top of my head. I'll have to check that out and get back with you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from Ms. Langston? Hearing none. Is there a motion for third reading approval of ordinance number 21-16?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a motion to amend ordinance number 21-16 to incorporate the proposed amended changes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. We'll move on to the amendment. Any discussion? All in favor of the amended change, please raise your hand. Opposed? Okay. We move back to the original motion. All in favor of the approval of ordinance number 21-16 with the amended changes, please raise your hand. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, Ms. Langston, we're moving down to ordinance number 21-19. You still here?
Yes, I'm still here.
All right.
So this is the third reading of the fiscal year 21 budget amendment. ordinance, and there has been a change since second reading. That change includes a $150,000 appropriation in the county fire fund, as noted in that ordinance, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have on that one as well.
Any questions for Ms. Langston? Okay. Hearing none, is there a motion to approve third reading of ordinance number 21-19?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Is there a motion to amend ordinance number 21-19 to incorporate the revised text?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor of the amended change, please raise your hand. Opposed? Okay, all right. We'll go back to the main motion. All in favor of the main motion with the incorporated text, please raise your hand. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. We are going down to the first reading of ordinances, and they'll just be read into the record. Ordinance number 21-20 to rezone two parcels, TMS number 04-0416-016-00-00 and TMS number 04-0416-025-00-00, located on Great Avenue from 10,000 square feet residential MR10 to forest agricultural. Ordinance number 21-21 to rezone two parcels located on Highway 17 bypass at its intersection with Coquina Avenue, TMS number 41-011-0119-032-02-02 and TMS number 41-011-0320-02-03 from general commercial to a flexible design district to allow for a brewery and associated recreational amenities. Yeah, going down to item 14A on our agenda.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I need to recuse myself on this one. I was a participant on one of the teams that submitted one of the bids. So, thank you.
Please let the record reflect that Councilman Goggins has noted a potential conflict of interest in his participation in the discussion and on voting on this issue. The meeting record should also reflect that Councilman Goggins had left the DS. A quorum for item 14A is 6 members of council. Ms. Silva.
Silver, I'm the purchasing officer for Georgetown County, and I'm here to speak on behalf of the issue under consideration for the request for qualifications number 21-011 for architectural design services for the new Georgetown County Detention Center. In 2016, a detention center needs assessment was conducted by RMF Engineering and resulted in a recommendation for a new detention center facility. This solicitation was advertised following state and local regulations in a newspaper of general circulation in Georgetown County, posted on the South Carolina Business Opportunities Publication web and county websites, and directly emailed to all known offerors. There were 3 responses received: HOK Architects, Inc., Mosley Architects, and Studio 8 Design, LLC. Presentations and interviews were then conducted with all 3 firms on May 4th, and final ranking was determined. Total estimated costs for these architectural and engineering services are $2,695,000, and these services will be paid for by a bond secured by the county. Staff recommends award of a professional service agreement to Mosley Architects at the recommendation of the evaluation committee. With that, I'll answer any questions you might have.
Are there any questions from council members?
I got one. Go ahead, Bob. All right. Miss Nancy?
Yes.
Good to see you this evening.
Good to see you.
I've heard that you did an excellent job putting this together.
Thank you.
And I had asked that we move this on to the regular agenda, and for a reason. Can you tell me, just at a top level, what criteria did you go through with these three design companies as far as from kind of a technical aspect, what you were looking for them to do? So I think what I'm familiar with is you do a proposal of the task, the work, and then you do a cost proposal. So if you'd kind of take me through that, I would appreciate it.
Sure. Yes, so with the RFQ, we have specific guidelines that we must follow for the architect and engineering services, and that's listed in our procurement ordinance 20-32, section 2-56 for architect, engineering, and land surveying services. So I do follow that to a T. A lot of that language I actually copy into my request for qualifications document. And with that, we go through the process. We ask for their qualifications, which includes references. We give them a scope of work of what we're looking for. We want to know what their transition plan is going to be for us, what their design services are going to entail. And then we go down to having a negotiated cost with the highest ranked offerer. So once we go through the process, determine who we believe is qualified, which is made up of a committee made of several staff members. In this case, we had one of our engineers on staff, our capital projects manager. We also had our sheriff on that, county administrator, economic development. Everyone was involved with the approval process of determining who is the highest ranked qualified person. So they went through their initial rankings. Then we had presentations and interviews, and we decided, since we only got 3 firms, that we would do that with all firms, and then we would then come up with our final rankings and determinations to get the highest qualified, which in this case was mostly architects. So then we did conduct negotiations with mostly architects, actually a couple of times, to try to bring down their cost proposal, and then we recommended that award to you today.
What stood out in your mind that made you decide to go with, is it Mosley?
Yes. I'm not a voting member in that project, in that process. I just kind of guide the evaluation committee members through that process.
But you were there when that decision was made.
Yes, so they each provide their rankings to me, and then I do kind of a final tally to determine who is the highest ranked offerer.
What were some of those, what were the things that were brought out that made this particular architectural firm stand out?
I'd have to look at the details that each person presented to me with what they believe stood out for that particular firm.
Okay, so
but I have those score sheets.
There was nothing there that you could, that really stood out in your mind.
Just that I know that they've had a lot of experience in the detention center areas. They've done this across South Carolina many times, so I think they've had a lot of experience in South Carolina particularly over some of the other ones.
Do you recall if they made any recommendations on what kind of a design it'd be, what they thought would be best to set our needs here suit our needs here in Georgetown County?
We provided, the Sheriff's Office had a design in mind already, the radial design. It's still open, for how he wants it designed, but that was the guidance that we gave out to everybody in the request for qualifications.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Newton.
Ms. Silver,
Yes.
Is there a time frame on the design process to be completed?
So I did get a timeline from Mosley. So it is a process. We're looking at probably a 2 to 3 year realistic time frame for completion of the construction. For their purposes, probably a 10-month time frame for design.
Thank you.
It's Silver. I noticed that I'm trying to find out what it was based on, just following up on Councilmember Anderson, basically some of the questions he was asking. Concerning the size of the detention center that's being taken into consideration, I see where the facility right now has about a 212 inmate beds.
Correct.
Are we talking about an increase in bed was presented to the architect to make a price and bid on it? Or are we talking about keeping something very similar to what we have now as far as bed-wise?
It would be an increase as recommended in that study by RMF Engineering. They recommended 326 beds.
326?
Mm-hmm. And that number is something that we've discussed about reducing that number down a little bit. We have discussed that with the architect as well.
Is there any consideration, I guess you're giving certain criteria to the architect what to look for in the construction of this facility, in the plans?
Correct. So we gave them that information from the study. So the core beds that we're looking at and the square footage and the type of design.
I think right now the department has some type of program from jail to work or something along those lines. I don't know exactly what the title is. Is any consideration being given to expand facilities for those particular purposes? And I guess I'm looking more at rehab over incarceration.
For what kind of purposes?
Well, there's some type of program the sheriff department has now, and the sheriff may be able to elaborate on that, where there's some training being given to inmates to fit back into society per se. I don't know whether there are any spacing at this particular jail to accommodate that or not. And I'm trying to find out now, will that particular provision be considered in the construction of this particular facility?
Yes, so I believe it was a trading room was a large factor in that as well.
Okay, thanks, Ms. Silva.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Ms. Silva? Okay, and tonight we are basically just voting on the architectural firm who would be designing the facility. That's basically all we're voting on.
Correct, yes, this is our starting point for
And the
design.
plans will actually come back before council prior to any construction being done.
Correct, yep.
Thank you. Okay. Is there a motion for approval of RFQ 21-011?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion passes with the recommendation of Ms. Silver, our procurement officer. We'll wait for Mr. Goggins to come back in.
Still can't hear you.
Vote that just came on RFQ 21-011. The recommendation for council was to award that to a certain entity, Mosley Architects. I just want to make sure that it's clear on the record that council's vote to approve was for the Mosley Architecture firm to be awarded that particular RFQ. I just want to make sure it's clear on the record. So I think the motion should probably announce that the RFQ was being awarded to Mosley Architects. That way it's manifestly clear. It's obviously the recommendation that was brought to council was for Mosley. I just want to make sure it's clear on the record.
Sure. Would you like for us to take the vote over?
Yes, sir. I think it would be best if to specify that, and I understand we'll wait just a moment for the dais to get cleared. So there's absolutely no concern about that at all.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, so we'll
Remake the motion, Chairman.
Okay. Is there a motion to award a professional service agreement to Mostly Architects at the recommendation of the Evaluation Committee?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Councilmember Anderson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Newton. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We are now to the City of Georgetown MOU for Economic Development. Mr. Tucker, our Economic Development Director.
Me to be here tonight. There we go. I think I'm the last item on the agenda, so I'll keep this as brief as you want it to be. Just over a year ago, we executed an MOU with the City of Georgetown to help them, assist them in economic development recruitment, specifically of retail, commercial. We have expanded that even a little more into some residential recruitment as well. That relationship has gone, we feel like, very well. Obviously, I think the city agrees with us. They've approached us about extending the MOU for another year. I think you have a copy of that with you. We have made a great deal of progress in the first year in this relationship. We've been able to engage a number of key private property owners that have property in some of the key corridors that are attractive for retail and commercial activity, and engage some with some residential development prospects as well. We've been able to engage a number of investors and developers. In fact, Urban Land Institute will be here tomorrow with a group of developers and investors to really do a quick tour of the City of Georgetown to look at some of the key projects that we feel like have the highest potential to yield results quickly. The MOU also outlines our relationship as the point of contact with the state for the Main Street program, and we continue to do that. We actually have strategic planning with the Georgetown Business Association's board next week to do strategic planning for the Main Street program, which is a really critical tool in us promoting the historic district and promoting the business district in Georgetown, and that is going well as well. Again, the relationship for the last year has, we had to figure each other out for a little while. We had to figure out how we were going to attack this effort. I feel like we've done that. We've made great strides. I'm very hopeful that in year two, we will see the fruit. We will see the fruit from the effort, and we are very encouraged by where we are to date. Happy to answer any questions or elaborate. I doubt you want me to elaborate on anything, but I'm certainly happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions for Mr. Tucker? Okay. Hearing none, is there a motion to accept staff recommendation to approve the extension of an existing MOU with the City of Georgetown pertaining to economic development through June 30th, 2022?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion carries. That is the end of our agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn? Y'all want to go home?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, any discussion? All right, all in favor of adjourn, please raise your hand. All right, we stand adjourned.